folks. Peace, baby. Prospector Tripp. Hey, this is the pan that was in that last video. It's the first iteration of this square looking drop aggressive riffle design that I'm playing with. It's you can see it's basically just like a paint roller pan. Ned. That's right, Goober Ned. Anyway, there's a couple issues already, I can tell you right now. This angle here is not enough, for one thing. So when you're panning, you have to tip this dude too high, right? And so that's one issue. And then of course, if you want to wash out the light stuff later on, you have to tip it like crazy person, right? And all your material falls out. And so, yeah, no good. Yeah, also the drops here, they're 5mm. And one of the problems with that, they're 5mm deep, is this fact. You take a rock and they will get jammed in there like that, right? Just when you're panning because it's so deep. So that's a mess. I don't like that. So this one here, yeah, it's a nice beginning practice. This guy here, this is the Rev3. These guys here also would catch a rock. So deep and so skinny, they catch a rock in there also. It will catch a rock in this bottom one and in here too, which I didn't like that too well. Revision 3, you can see I changed the angle pretty severe here, right? And I also changed the riffles dramatically also. They're basically just a kind of a wedge-shaped looking riffle, and they're 5mm at the bottom and of course to a point at the top, and they're 25mm, about an inch deep. And so they really work quite well. There's one issue though. Instead of having two, for sure, I need another one up here. So I need to add a third. I'll probably move this one down a smidge, move this one down, and make them all kind of equally spaced with one up the top. So we got 3 riffles. I think that'll help a lot. Also, these drops in here are 2mm. They're far better than the 5mm, and they don't seem to catch rocks like the deep ones. The point with this pan was to catch most of the heavies in one shot as you're panning, kind of. This is all just preliminary pan. You have to know. Just a preliminary design. So I'm just kind of reasoning things out in my head and playing with it, as I'm sure every other pan manufacturer has done. I'm not going to manufacture these, but I'm playing with it just so I can make something interesting. The point was not to make it, you know, so gigantic that it was a hassle to use. Some pans are so big, there's a lot of weight to them and a lot of dirt in them. When you get old, you're like, I do 10 pans and I'm exhausted. So I was trying to make something a little bit lighter, a little more handier, that really grabbed the stuff. Kind of a problem having my small little hobby Ender 3 printer, is that this is roughly the maximum size I can print. And the big problem with that is, as you know, most pans are cut far lower as far as the square section, you know, being like the sidewalls, and then they flare out, right? Just like this guy does here. This is that old gold grabber pan that I've had for many years. And that's kind of my idea, you know, going off this one. And there's a few other pans out there that are square that I looked at, and I kind of like those designs too. But I don't want to make exactly their design. So, but the point is, you can see this one's got a big, gigantic flare on it, right? And when you put your dirt in, primarily it gets funneled in to the pan. So the problem with my printers is that the area is so small, even printing it on an angle like that, I can get a little flare here, but I'm kind of just playing with the pan first just to get it functioning, and then I'll worry about some of the niceties of the pan. That leads me to this guy here. Now it looks a little rough, as you can see. The box is tore up pretty heavily, but what this is a longer, that's the name of it, L-O-N-G-E-R. Longer is the manufacturer. But this is a LK5 Pro. This is a remanufactured one. Which what that means, primarily, somebody bought it, built it, couldn't print probably, and then just sent it back to them because it's not their bag. So what I've noticed about this dude is it's basically brand new, but you can see the table is not tight at all, right? And so if they were trying to print like that, holy smoke, you know, and it doesn't look like they even printed one thing to me. I don't see any print marks on there like they actually used it. So I think they bought it, maybe tried to build it a little bit and then sent it back. It was only 180. 179 in tax, you know, yeah, less than 200 shipped to my house, which is pretty good. I got that dude on Newegg, which Newegg, of course, is kind of electronic site. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna build that hog because that'll give me some major print area. I could actually print it flat like that. Obviously, a whole lot longer, right? I could probably print all the way out to like something like that. So I could make it literally about 5 inches longer. It's plenty big. It's 300 by 300 millimeters, which is roughly 12 inches by 12 inches by 400 high. So about 15-ish, 16-ish high. It gives you a lot of latitude to print something like this with the huge flare and really make a good pan. But a couple more things I did with this one too versus these guys. You can see how thick that bottom is there, right? Bottom is basically a 1/2 inch thick, just about on these guys, smidge less. But that was way too much and kind of makes it heavy. And probably adds to the strength, of course. And same with this guy here, right? It's real thick on the bottom. But this guy here, what I did with this one is I ended up making it 5 millimeters thick on the bottom, 5 millimeters on the sides, the 2 millimeter drops, right? So it's far lighter. And it only took 400 grams of material to print this versus those guys. I had to shrink them down a smidge to make them less than 500 so I could print 2 of those with 1 roll of filament, because you get 1 kilogram of filament when you get it. Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. What we got here is, of course, I got that gold grabber. I don't know if I could tip it for him to show you. Oh yeah, gold grabber. So yeah, this gold grabber is really a nice pan. I love the big flat bottom in it because it's about as big as this whole pan, the whole flat bottom in there, which is really terrific. The one thing that's terrible on it, in my opinion, is of course, this is an old one. I'm sure like a first design or something, but the ripples are like just round. They're not sharp at all. Instead of going to these other guys, which I know are not very good, I'm gonna go straight with this guy here. I wanted kind of a small back on it here so I could rinse that stuff out without too much of an angle. In other words, releasing the material that would be up here. One by one, baby. Piece. Let's pan this dirt. Okay, folks, yeah, I got this dirt here I cleaned out of the sleuth box that I just finished running. Put it all right in there, just like that. So this is real dirt. This is stuff that's been cleaned and washed and all that junk, you know. As you can see, that top ripple already, I don't like, right? Because the material just sits up on there. So if in fact I had another riffle there at the very top, of course that wouldn't happen. It'd be caught underneath that riffle. And so, yeah, I gotta fix that problem. So anyway, like always, I stratify. Oh, I got one more thing here too. For sure, there's gonna be a little bit of gold in it, but really small gold. A whole bucket of this yields basically 0.07 grams, not even 1/10 of a gram per bucket. So if you run 10 buckets, you can get 0.7 grams, you know, roughly 3/4 of a gram. So yeah, it's got gold in it, but nothing to write home about. So with that in mind, you stay right there, you stay right there. Hear that? That's one of my little gold containers that I printed recently. So let's get it right side up here. Yeah, gold 2023. Yeah, I just put some plaster gold in there, basically 1 gram. Now I'm gonna dump it right in there so we can actually see the gold. Okay, I won't lose none because I got it all right here. I'll bring it right back. Hey folks, you should be able to see that gold I dumped in there. It's roughly 1 gram. I'm gonna put it right on in here. Like that. I think we got her. All right. Now that gold, she's on in there. So for sure we got 1 gram in there. So we can actually see how she does. I'm gonna stratify again to get all the heavy gold and the heavy heavies. down the bottom. And we're going to tip it on up like that. Now the later stuff's in top. We'll skip off a little bit there, like that. Do it again. Stratify. Yeah, this is not a roundy round pin, okay? This is a back and forther. So you have to stratify like this, right? Not in circles. Yeah, it's obviously very evident to most people. Yeah, especially the experienced guys. Okay, now you can see this thing holds a significant amount of material in there with those gigantic riffles. So I might even reduce them down to maybe 3/4 inch instead of 1 inch, because they are very aggressive. Too aggressive for me. For me, I think it's a little too aggressive. So let's try and roll this back just a smidge one time and see what happens. I don't see any gold sneaking past yet. So, in lieu of that fact, I'm gonna go like this with this stuff down here, because this was my plan, was to skim this stuff out of here, like that a little bit. Yeah, I don't see no gold in there, see, so we did good. And then we'll do it again here. We'll stratify again, just like we did. Get everything down the bottom. I'm gonna roll it back a little bit again, like we did before. Looking. See any gold escaping the shit? You see how those riffles really grab the tree? We get too crazy. Don't see any in that black sand, right? I think we did pretty good. Try it again. This time I'm gonna get a little bit more aggressive on these guys. Bring it back here like that. Just for grins. So I want to see how well those drops grab this. If we got gold down in here, then maybe I was too aggressive. Looking. Yeah, see that little clean off plate is too shallow. I gotta make it at least twice as big, maybe even a little bit bigger than that. But yeah, no gold. Again, no gold down there, so that's good. That means these drops have everything, right? So I didn't allow any of that gold, fine or otherwise, to get out of there just yet. And that's a good point. Let's get a little aggressive with it again. You can see all that gold showing up there too, right? But it's fairly well captured. Now I'm sure I can knock some out of there if I get on it too much, because you can almost throw gold out of anything if you try. If you try hard enough. Yeah, see that little cleaning plate in the back is just a smidge too, not a smidge, it's about half the size it needs to be. But again, no gold down there, that's good. Means it's all those drops got it. Okay, I'm gonna set you up here and then I'll finish panning it with actually both hands instead of one pan. Piece of fish. Anyway, yeah, stratifying everything, getting everything right down in the corner again, right here, right at that little point. That's where you want all your material. And then we're gonna roll it back again, just like we were doing. Now see, it's cleaning off that material. I don't see any gold yet. But one thing, with this so low, every time I pull it back, I lose water, right? So one by one we do these ideas and see what we get. So I don't see no gold that came over just yet here, so let's check that real quick. Do a couple of aggressive rollbacks here, see what happens. Yeah, see that material is like, it's in those drops. No, I don't see no gold in there, guys. Okay, that's what we want. We want it to be captured up top. You can see that it's got significant gold up there, right? It sure does. 1 gram or more. Smidge over, I'm sure. I even getting crazy like that, right? Just now. Don't see nothing in there. All over the side here and see what we get here. Yeah, I got to shorten up those drops or something a little bit smaller this way, right? And then put a slant on them so when I want to wash the material out, it's not as difficult as a steep, 90-degree wall. I should be able to get some of this out of there now. Like that without getting too much losses. I hope none. Yeah, there's our gold. Anyway, yeah. That's the deal, baby. Remember, I love you, man. We're working on it. One by one. Full pan is coming along. I think we're getting better here, slowly but surely. But we got more to do. Oh, beautiful sunshine.